Welcome news in Philly, where the Birds quarterback was back. Jalen Hurts, a full participant at practice on Thursday, as he prepares for his second career championship Sunday. Hurts coming up hobbled following this nasty third-quarter sack that left him with a banged-up left knee. All right, let's get you into your latest news and notes across the league, and for that, we say hello to Bryant, McFadden, and Jason Canfora. Fellas, it's January. The hay is in the barn. The reps have been banked. The mobility of that knee, far more important than practice time right now, Mac, but it is good to have no designation moving forward here for Hurts. How do you expect the Eagles' game plan to fashion around this latest ailment?
Well, I think we will see a different game plan offensively, guys, with the Eagles, and here's why. Jalen Hurts won't have the mobility that we've seen when he's been healthy, because clearly he's not healthy. Yesterday, he was not a participant in a walkthrough, JLC, Joe. A walkthrough. Literally, you have on sneakers, probably a ball cap, beanie, and you're walking through everything. He wasn't a participant yesterday. So today we heard he was back in the lineup. But get this, at this time of the year, everything is pretty much a glorified walkthrough. You're not doing anything in terms of quickness. You're not going through the reps full speed, not even half speed. Everything at this stage in the season is a walkthrough. You're in the AFC, NFC championship game, so you're not going to have anything in terms of intensity with workouts getting ready for Sunday's game. So the one clip that I did see of Jalen Hurts going through his normal read, he didn't look well. He didn't look well at all. So me personally, yes, he will be in the lineup, but in terms of how much he's been involved in RPOs and the running game, being an improvised runner at some point in times, I don't know if that will be a part of their game plan. And if that's the case, JLC, if you're a Commanders fan or if you're a part of their organization, you applaud that. You welcome that, because when he is a +1 in the running game, he is a better quarterback in their offense. They're a better offense in totality.
B-Mac, I'm right there with you. And Barkley's even a more effective runner the few times they do play around with the mesh point. Look, I believe my lying eyes. I don't care what they list him as. I don't care, what they do a day after. A lot of people, to your point, were scratching their heads about how the hell can he be limited in a walkthrough. So now he's completely full. Except I saw him try to drop back 3 steps and roll to his right, and he was clearly favoring a knee, even going at 50%. Like, this is not a nothing burger for me. I don't think it can be a nothing burger for them. And yes, it's a 1-game season. And yes, there's 2 weeks off on the other side of this. But this is certainly factored into my handicapping and evaluation and research of this game. Going back to as soon as we knew who was playing whom last weekend, watching this injury in real time, watching him afterwards, listening to him talk to the media after that game, listening to Sirianni talk after that game, and then again early this week. Like, you're not convincing me that now all of a sudden he's fine. Nothing to see here. We're going to list him as full participant, and away we go. And if Washington's able to get a lead in this game and force him to drop back a lot and put him under even a little bit of pressure, and he can't scramble like he normally can, that's another area where this could manifest itself. So I don't think we're going to look at Jalen Hurts on Sunday afternoon and be like, oh, my goodness, what a dynamic force he is at the quarterback position. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to be that kind of game.
It'll be interesting to assess the hardware pregame that he comes out with on that knee. Came out with a little extra after the injury, and we saw him take that safety immobile in moments, but they've been doing designation gymnastics going on a month now with the concussion at the end of the season for Jalen Hurts as well. We'll see how it all adds up here in the title game. Thursday, the AP announced finalists for the league's major awards. Headlining the list, MVP hopefuls Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Big surprise. Joined by Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff. Allen representing the betting favorite for much of the season, but after the All-Pro release, offshore's positioning Lamar as the minus money, and domestically, the numbers coming completely off that board. Fellas, votes have long been counted for this regular season honor, but the NFL hot stove, it's always on a simmer. JLC, who's your MVP?
It's Lamar Jackson, and it's going to be. It was reflected in the AP All-Pro first team, and it'll be reflected from those same voters when we get around to seeing the final tabulations of the MVP. And I think it's totally warranted, and it doesn't mean that any of these other guys didn't have incredible seasons. And it doesn't mean that some of them haven't done historical things as well. But for a two-time MVP winner before the age of 28 to have had unquestionably his best season and to have done it in a year where he outproduced everybody else by any real metric you want to look at. I mean, he had a passer rating 20 points higher than Josh Allen. If you want to look at their passer rating against playoff teams, and Lamar faced twice as many of them as Josh Allen, it's 21 points higher. Like, I just don't think you can go any other way. Lamar Jackson's the reason that they threw for 4,000 yards and ran for 3,000 yards and had 20 rushing touchdowns and over 40 passing touchdowns. He was incredible. The interception percentage, like Josh Allen, was incredibly low, but just as much was asked of Lamar as was for Josh Allen. And yes, Josh got him in the playoffs. Absolutely. 147 total yards. Josh got him in the playoffs. Lamar turned it over and Josh didn't. But you guys know the voting's been done for weeks.
I mean, me personally, I'm right there with you, JLC. You see there on the graphic, first player in NFL history. The NFL has been in existence for a long, long time. And anytime you're the first player to do something, that's an unbelievable season. He is my MVP, and here's why. He's won 2 MVPs throughout his career thus far. This season has been the best we've ever seen from Lamar Jackson. This season has trumped the previous 2 seasons that he won the award. That's a huge stat, in my opinion. Secondly, in terms of the next best candidate, he has better numbers than Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen has been spectacular as well, guys. But in terms of sports, when you try to rank and decide who's been better, who's been worse, or whatever the case may be, we always go to numbers. He has better numbers in every major category, basically at the quarterback position, than Josh Allen. Lastly, for me, I know most people would say, well, Josh Allen has a better record, more wins, less losses. That's the case. Yes, that's true. But the last time I checked, Lamar Jackson, they won their division, and they also had a home playoff game as well. And the major category in terms of how difficult the strength of schedule was. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens played a tougher schedule. And the teams that were playoff caliber teams, look at the record they had against those teams. They had a field day against the most competitive teams on their schedule. Not to mention they were in a more competitive division than the Buffalo Bills. So I understand it's been back and forth, and both players have been outstanding. But I've never seen the MVP race become so personal for fans. I don't know what's going on with fans. If you didn't know any better, you thought the fans were being considered for an award. No, it's not. It's the same as it has been every year. But for some reason, this has been more personal. But I'm right there with you, JLC. I think Lamar Jackson is the winner. No knock on Josh because he's been spectacular. But when you look at side by side the numbers, when you look at the difficulty of schedules, when you look at being the first to do things, something in NFL history, Lamar Jackson has been that guy. And he's been able to do so from start to finish.
Hey, no argument here, Mac. You know I sat in this chair December 4, 9-1. We handed it out. We hope you listened. We'll see if it does come to pass here the day before Super Bowl Sunday. Fellas, work to be done elsewhere here, and specifically in the Music City, and a new boss doing that work in that building. Former Chiefs assistant GM Mike Borgonzi now pushing the buttons for the Titans, including that highly coveted top overall pick. Borgonzi, introduced to the media on Wednesday, says he has full authority in constructing this roster. As for who might be that first name called, a recent shift. Cam Ward, to see him there on January 6th, positioned at -125, got to the -170 territory, but sliding all the way to +105. Travis Hunter, the one surging. The reason why, some candid comments by Borgonzi saying, quote, "We won't pass on a generational talent with the first pick in the NFL draft," end quote. Guys, it's that time of year. I mean, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see, that sort of thing. Mac, 1-1, that current QB room, the way it's constructed, it feels like you got to go quarterback, no?
No question you got to go quarterback, guys. I understand the comments and I understand the logic, but you have to look at which player makes your team better right now. And I agree. Travis Hunter is a generational talented player, talent at the football, spots for whatever position he decides to play, because he's 2 players in one. But how good will Travis Hunter be with no quarterback throwing him the football? at some point in time, someone has to throw him the football. And the last time I checked, guys, the future of their franchise at the quarterback position is not on the roster. So how are you going to navigate if you decide to go with a non-quarterback in the draft with the first overall selection? How are you going to navigate the quarterback position? Because it's slim pickings when you look at the free agents that will be available at the quarterback position this offseason. And when you look at the Tennessee Titans, how many more times, JLC, do you expect to be in this position where you're drafting first?
Exactly.
Where you can pick whoever you want to pick. Yeah. So you don't want to be in this position anytime soon.
Keep getting it wrong.
So you have to find a way. Yeah, you got to get it right. Because if you do go get Travis Hunter, we know what type of talent Travis Hunter is, and I would expect to see him play on the offensive side. But who's throwing him the football? Who? So, listen, pump the brakes. I understand you're going to get a lot of headlines about different players and different positions, but come on. If you do not have a quarterback, you do not get wins. And the last time I checked, the last few seasons in Tennessee, especially this year, they didn't get a lot of wins. You know why? Because they did not have a reliable quarterback to lead them into a direction where they can find ways to win instead of finding ways to lose.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. Like, look, if you're wagering money based on what general managers say out loud, you might as well just turn your paycheck right over to the books. Now, like get out of this business. Don't watch us anymore. Like, just mail it in, man. Like, what? Like, no. This has nothing to do with reality. They went and got Brian Callahan, who's supposed to be an offensive coordinator, right, and a quarterback guy, and he's got no quarterback. If he doesn't get a quarterback, he's going to get fired. Like, I know he came in before the GM, but, like, that's the reality there. You know, they're like, Levis was a failure. They stuck with Levis. They blew out 2 years. They've wasted time. They're spiraling. They're trying to get a stadium built there. How are you going to do that without a quarterback? I mean, what? You going to get Sam Darnold? Like, I mean, you might. Like, you could. Like, he's the best thing out there. But, like, what are they going to do? Try to run it out there with Aaron Rodgers? Like, no. Look. Bergonzi's smart. He's going to say what he has to say. He's going to play the game. Everybody likes to have mystery and intrigue just in case somebody makes you a ridiculous offer for that pick, right? And you don't want to seem like you're locked into a quarterback. Hey, you think you're going to get Travis Hunter at 3? Well, what if I took him at 1? Like, all that stuff. Like, of course he's going to play that game. But they're taking a quarterback, and the Browns are taking a quarterback, and that's that.
Reminds me of a year ago. Ryan Poles with that top overall pick wouldn't show his hand even though the world knew what was happening there at 1-1. Now, not a sure thing, surefire, at least prospect-wise at the top of this draft, but a smokescreen nonetheless here, fellas. We'll continue to come to both of you to sift through it all. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, a look here at non-quarterbacks to be selected first overall. And you can take a look through those names, maybe most notable, the last wide receiver or cornerback to be drafted first overall, all the way back in 1996 when the Jets took Keyshawn Johnson. Now, that's a wide receiver or cornerback. How about a wide receiver and cornerback?